The world's towering over you. The yerp fields, where the echo of your actions resounds clearer than any other place you'll find, except for where that's not true. Feel the night wrap around you. That's a hope hall. Some used to go there every week to join hands and hope together. Not so much hope to go around these days.
All fired up. A smartphone disgusting. Biomutant. Just gross. Nice shot. So much damage.
Whoa, that's some scronky metal scrap there.
Don't care. Misery. Shot through.
This one seems to be in good spirits despite being left here for dead. Has heard that you only follow your own personal code and is worried you've lost your respect for life. Asks you to do the right thing for the sake of your conscience. It's only through your inner conflict you're held accountable for your actions. Seems happy, but surprised you chose to turn this disaster into a blessing.
Light instantly banishes dark.
The dark strikes back.
That's not that dark, more like long shadows.
The shadows are growing longer again.
We'll beat them back.
It's time for an adventure, for good or bad. There it is, the Tree of Life. The idea that all life is related by common descent, where the twigs are existing species and those produced in the past represent the succession of the extinct. The tree's great branches were once budding twigs, a connection between the past, present, and future. A representation of all extinct and living species with its ever-branching and beautiful ramifications. We are an evolution of those that came before.
Gross. This place stinks.
This is Dixie's goods. There's an outfitter and an upgrade bench dangling in that little blimp. Let's see. Peddler is eager for you to have a look at the web. Can sense you want to practice your skills at bartering. Wasn't too bad a deal, was it? A good deal all around. Every day is a new chance to fulfill your destiny. Glad to see some wood scrap there. Let's see. It's a place well hidden. It's just below the above.
Mayan Gabobe Farhi.
Out of Date's impressed you made it this far, but there's still so much left to do. The end of the world is still on everyone's minds.
Ayamu Aya.
You've beaten a path where you have the power to destroy or save everyone. Question is, what you'll do with that responsibility.
Ayamu Aya.
He worries about you. If you love yourself, you don't hurt others. But the more you hate yourself, the more you want others to suffer. Thinks it's important that you remember who you are and where you came from. Someone without knowledge of their history and origin is like a tree without roots.
Mopu Far Kobi.
He promises he'll be there for you. Just come talk to him beneath the tree if you're feeling lost.
Tolu Keta. Ya Wawanawe Adu Awa Ya Ia.
Out of Date says there's a time for everything. And now there's no use thinking of the past, for it's gone.
Loma Tuaha.
Think of the present because that's where you are. It's time to set your priorities as the one who completes things.
Lua Tolu Tum. Valu Alu Herua.
He's worried that you're putting the world at risk. But darkness isn't necessarily the end of the world. It's just another perspective. If the world really does end, there won't be anywhere to run. So he's prepared for the worst, something he calls the Ark.
Ja, you maua.
Two sides to everything, but for him it would be devastating if you were forced to use the Ark to escape while the world crumbled.
Shintuata moti huasa.
Out of Date says there's no clear record of the chain of events that changed the course of history and brought the world to its knees.
Yowotulua, yuba, tuluwawa.
He's found evidence on the Ark, records of a crisis, decades of contamination that permeated the ground and broke its inner core.
Befarbihita, huntukub kirko.
The contamination disrupted what we now know as key energy, the life force that runs through all things, living and inanimate.
Come ripa tuluwoya lu yalubatuluyu.
He's been told the blight affected everything at a genetic level and turned our perception of normality on its head.
Yamoluwando. Hilfov ugvuhu vobra boom.
It was only those that changed that avoided extinction, proving that the possibility for survival and renewal was real.
Beboko contaba en paso tombupu du koye.
He understands you are curious about the ship at the foot of the tree. He says it surfaced when the oil broke through the ground.
En paso tombupu du koye.
The Ark predates the back-in days, and now, after years of study of the manuals he found inside, he believes he's figured the ship out.
Udenu kun nunyofubo tolomawawanya.
The Ark has room for 4 more, even if you think no one else is worth saving if the world comes to an end.
Loma utulu ba yowo.
He'll keep the seats open, and you are free to invite up to 4 others to join you in the Ark in the event of a cataclysm.
Udenu kun nunyofubo ka nuka nuburak.
Out of Date says that from what he's heard, you've been busy.
Ewe boboye.
He says he appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately he's got urgent news from his friend Goop in the southeast.
Baluotulu.
Out of Date says he knows you're good-hearted enough to do your best to support Goop.
Mauketo tul atu iamanau.
He says he'll point you in the right direction, but finding Goop and making sure he gets what he needs is up to you. That's the sound of impending doom. Out of Date's premonitions of imminent disaster are true. The Porkypuff needs to be handled.
Bubuko von Vunvun.
Out of Date says that Goop is worried now that the Southeast World Eater is stepping up its activity.
Vunbubo tubuko. Udenu kun nunyofubo.
He explains that Goop is working on a goo-gliding vessel in order to get to the World Eater, but needs help to get it done.
Vunbubo tubuko ka nuka nuburak.
Out of Date suggests that you should head southeast as fast as possible and see what you can do to help.
Koibe o korfabe.
He wonders what's on your mind.
To huaye.
Says you should take it easy. This box once tailed a chugger-chugger. Now it's just off track. This corner of the world is called Bricktown. Go make the most of the day. That there's Subnautica Station. Goop flounders around in there.
Yango, aje tawa, ditutuat manutai baradrade, ajim botalanti.
Gulpo ain't the easiest tongue, but I think he says he's happy to see a friendly face. Not too many of those around these days.
Avanya,
Says it's good to see you again. He's Goop. You might remember him from the old days when he tried to teach you how to swim.
Katianyana kandwale.
Goop says you were always so righteous as a child, and he can still feel it, even at a distance.
Kandwale.
Goop says memories fade surprisingly fast. We are all pieces of what we remember. It's only together we can remember the story as it was. He recalls you wouldn't put in the time required to learn how to swim. He bets you regret that now.
Zurakia, Zairuya.
Goop says our memory keeps things for us and protects them until we are ready to face them again.
Itaku,
He understands you've returned to face Lupa Lupin. That's the destiny you've been carrying within yourself all these years.
Rapiki,
He says that the catastrophe back then didn't vanquish the good in you. It's still there, as bright as when you were a child.
Tonaku,
Now the time has come for you to remember and act. Your life is your life, not the story you're told about it.
Zizatiarianu.
He understands why you seek revenge, but he doesn't think you realize how that'll make you feel once you claimed it.
Take that light!
So much for the dark.
Get that light out of your eyes. It's blinding.
That's how a bright mind does it.
Light never lasts. Not forever.
Says life on the goo is wide open. You have so many choices of where to go. Some harder than others, of course. Which kind do you like? Best to stick close to the shore then, where the goo isn't so deep. That's like being close to your friends who can help when things go wrong. Can hardly believe the world is going to make it. Wonders what that's going to do to the goo. Wishes you hadn't done so much to make the goo even gooier. Thinks the Myriad made a good match with you. You're both like sunshine on the surf. Never seen any brighter. Shine on. But hey, back to the goo. Knows yesterday is already gone. It's what you do today and tomorrow that'll move you forward. You need to set the past aside, at least for now. He can't leave the Subnautica station, as the pollution has worn down the insulation of his suit. So you must salvage enough scrap to fix up his goo glide, starting with the old wreck box outside. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the goo glide strong enough to fight the Porky Puff. Out of Date told him the undersurf was the epicenter of the contamination. This was where it struck hardest and inflicted the biggest change to the ecosystem. Such a bright day to wander around in. Just a few moves left. Make them count. You should figure your nighttime strategy. feels like a river runs through you.
Slice and dice.
Toxanol's offshore drilling caused oily matter to spread with the rain and contaminate both the groundwater and open surf. The long-lasting effect this had on the evolution of wildlife was, as we know now, the only reason we came to exist. The day can't come soon enough. You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework.
Mukhang Sayruya yang wanakanwako manutay baradrade.
He's got the goo glide functional. You'll have a pull hook and a salvage net, but no armor, and an engine strong enough to break through the thick goo further out.
Ajitawa muza pauta saretundokwana.
There are lots of valuables left behind on the surf floor that the salvage net will enable you to haul. You just need to find the right spots. GOOP says Gizmo's devised a cannon for the goo glide, but instead of bullets, it flips quacks. Squeaky distractions for the triple attentive porky puff, which will give you time to get yourself in position. The best way to find quacks is to talk to Gulp. He has the bearings of the surf archipelago and knows where the quacks like to float. This means you'll have the privilege of visiting Gulp in the Sinky Dink. He'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find quacks. He's not sure, but the quacks are probably a leftover from a cargo surfer that went under in the olden days. The squeaky material must have made them surface when their box broke. Riding a glide beats fluid flapping in the goo. Welcome to the Surfipelago, where the horizon rests on the surfy GOOP. You're poking around Pockbur, a prime village. Smells like low tide. This here is the Sinky Dink, home of Gulp, at the very least. He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink. Says it's both everything you could want and never enough. Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this world. Good, bad, not really sure, but it seems like you've been drinking in your destiny and liking the flavor. Wants to know if he could point you towards something fun to drink, so that you could share with the tipsy tipster. You sure look like you could use a drink. Either way, he hopes you find a way. Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing. Sure. Wants to rate. Respect. Sees why you joined up. Something. The drink helps him forget the state. Says that's what gives your internals such a great glow. He wants you to know he has other interests too. He's the Surfipelago's self-proclaimed ornithologist, for example. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times, and, fortunately for you, he can help. Watching Pippi's flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. Squeezing them is a great way to relax. Says he read that in an old world book. It means you're an expert of all living things that flap and tweet. The darkness swallows. Let's see. Gun it and go. Even better for the goo. The Quack Hollow. It's just lonely. All good things end. Upsy daisy. Oh, it's locked. Scrapalicious. Set Deathmaker to spray. That's just awful. Watch your step around here. You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Bristles like the hair of one electrified. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. climbety climb. And the open goo before you. If you have to cross goo, do it like this. Ready to live at your own speed. Never need to not swim again. This won't be a field trip. It's the real thing. That's enough quacks to sustain the Googlide flipper with infinite ammunition. Goop says he was there when the Porky Puff took Out-of-Date's leg, so this World Eater has made it personal. After that, Out-of-Date started using his head instead of his legs and came up with the plan on how to best make a stand against the World Eaters, and it wasn't by foot. That's how he got tasked with rebuilding the Googlide. He seems happy to talk. Thinks you should lend the world a hand instead of sitting there and watching it spin. Says Noko is the best when it comes to critters. You'll see that when you meet her. Says talking to you was interesting. He seems happy to talk. Understands completely. Days are scarce. Don't waste them.